There is a $1 block of natural wax sitting in the cleaning aisle of every grocery store on Earth right now. Lifeless would bag into a surface that looks and feels like it was professionally refinished 20 minutes ago. No sanding, no stripping, no chemical refinisher that fills your house with fumes for 3 days. No $400 professional furniture restoration appointment. Just a single pass of wax rubbed directly into the wood grain that penetrates the dried-out fiber, replaces the lost oils and moisture at the cellular level, and restores color, depth, and natural luster in under 60 seconds of contact. The United States Forest Products Laboratory has published research on wax-based wood preservation for over a century. Conservation scientists at the Smithsonian Institution use wax treatments to restore and protect priceless wooden artifacts in their permanent collection. The Getty Conservation Institute has documented wax-based wood restoration as one of the safest and most effective methods for preserving historical wooden furniture, sculpture, and architectural elements. This is not a furniture cleaning hack from a social media reel. Ancient Egyptian woodworkers applied beeswax to furniture placed inside the tombs of pharaohs over 4,500 years ago. Those pieces were recovered by archaeologists in the 19th and 20th century, with the wood still preserved, still showing grain detail, still displaying the warm tone that wax had given them across 4.5 millennia. Roman furniture makers used identical wax formulations to finish the tables, chairs, and cabinets of senators and emperors. Medieval European craftsmen refined wax finishing into a high art form that defined the golden era of furniture making for 500 years. Then, an $8 billion furniture refinishing and restoration industry realized something very dangerous. They realized that a $1 block of wax could accomplish in 60 seconds what they charge hundreds of dollars and weeks of workshop time to replicate. They did not stop using wax because it failed. They did not replace it because chemistry found something better. They buried it in the consumer market because a $1 treatment that any homeowner can apply in their living room without removing a single piece of hardware eliminates the need to ever hire a professional refinisher or buy a new piece of furniture. And anything that keeps furniture alive forever cannot coexist with an industry that profits from furniture dying on schedule. This is the story of the oldest wood restoration secret in human history, and the massive industry that needs your grandmother's dining table to look hopeless, so you will either pay them to fix it or throw it away and buy a replacement. If you are not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell right now. What they buried, we dig up. Every single video, travel back with me to approximately 2500 BC, the burial workshops of ancient Egypt, the Valley of the Kings. A master Egyptian woodworker is completing the final finish on a cedarwood chest destined for the tomb of a high-ranking official. This chest must survive eternity, not metaphorically. The Egyptians believed that objects buried with the dead would serve them in the afterlife. Furniture placed in tombs was built and finished with the explicit intention that it would last forever. The woodworker does not coat the chest with paint. He does not apply a thick varnish. He takes a block of rendered beeswax, softened gently over a low flame, and rubs it directly into the cedar wood surface, using the palm of his hand. He works methodically, pressing the wax into the grain with firm circular motions until the wood drinks every last trace from the surface. The transformation is immediate. The dry, pale cedar darkens into a warm, rich, golden tone. The grain pattern emerges with stunning depth and clarity. The surface develops a soft, natural luster that feels alive under the fingertips. The wood does not look coated. It looks nourished, as though moisture and life have been returned to fibers that were beginning to dry. When Howard Carter opened the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, he found wooden furniture and artifacts dating back over 3,300 years. Many of these objects showed remarkable states of preservation. Conservation analysis identified residual beeswax treatments on multiple wooden surfaces. Wax applied by Egyptian craftsmen over 3 millennia ago had continued protecting the wood throughout the entire span of ancient, classical, medieval, and modern human history. 3,300 years of continuous wood protection from a single application of wax, applied by hand. Using a natural substance produced by insects, now move forward to the Roman Empire. The 1st century AD, Roman furniture making reaches a level of sophistication that will not be matched again in Europe for over 1,000 years. Wealthy Roman households commission elaborate furniture from skilled craftsmen working in walnut, olive wood, citrus wood, and imported ebony. These pieces are status symbols. Their appearance matters as much as their function. Pliny the Elder, writing in his Natural History, documents the Roman practice of finishing fine furniture with a mixture of beeswax and small amounts of olive oil heated together and rubbed into the wood surface. He describes the process as standard practice among Roman furniture makers and notes that wax finishing produces a surface that resists moisture, maintains its appearance over years, and can be restored to original beauty simply by applying fresh wax at any time. The Romans understood something that the modern furniture industry desperately needs you to forget. Wood does not die permanently. Dry, faded, gray wood is not damaged wood. It is simply wood that has lost its natural oils and moisture content. Replacing those oils and sealing the surface with wax reverses the visible aging process instantly. Roman furniture maintained with periodic wax applications lasted generations, passed from father to son, from mother to daughter. Not as disposable consumer goods replaced every decade, but as family assets maintained and improved over lifetimes. Now cross into medieval Europe. The 14th through the 18th century, the greatest era of furniture craftsmanship the Western world has ever known. Every master furniture maker in medieval and Renaissance Europe used wax as a primary finishing material. The technique was so central to the craft that the phrase French polish, still used today to describe the finest furniture finish possible, originally referred to a wax-based finishing technique refined by French craftsmen in the 17th and 18th centuries. Guild records from workshops in Paris, London, Florence, and Amsterdam document detailed wax formulations and application techniques passed from master to apprentice across generations. The base was always the same: beeswax, sometimes mixed with a small amount of turpentine to soften it for easier application, sometimes blended with carnauba wax for additional hardness, sometimes tinted with natural earth pigments to match specific wood tones. But the principle never changed across 500 years of guild practice. Wax penetrates into wood fibers. It replaces lost moisture and natural oils. It fills microscopic surface imperfections. It creates a breathable protective barrier that allows the wood to continue exchanging moisture with its environment at a controlled rate without drying out or absorbing too much humidity. This breathability is the critical advantage that no modern synthetic finish has ever replicated successfully. Polyurethane seals the wood surface completely. Moisture cannot enter, but moisture also cannot escape. If any moisture is trapped inside the wood at the time of coating, or if moisture enters from the underside or an uncoated edge, it becomes permanently sealed inside. The wood swells, the coating cracks, the wood beneath begins to deteriorate underneath a finish that looks perfect on the outside. Wax breathes. It allows controlled moisture exchange while preventing rapid drying and excessive absorption. The wood stays in equilibrium with its environment. No swelling, no cracking, no trapped moisture slowly rotting the fibers from within. This is why 400-year-old wax-finished furniture in European museums is still in extraordinary condition, while 20-year-old polyurethane-finished furniture in your living room is already peeling and cracking. Furniture built for kings and maintained with wax has outlived empires. Furniture built for consumers and coated with synthetic finishes barely outlives a mortgage. Now cross to colonial America and Japan in parallel. American Shaker furniture makers renowned for producing some of the most beautifully simple and durable furniture in American history, used beeswax as their primary finishing material throughout the 18th and 19th centuries. Shaker furniture has survived 200 years of daily use in active households, not museums, with nothing more than periodic wax maintenance. In Japan, woodworkers used a blend of plant-based waxes, including the wax harvested from the fruit of the Toxicodendron vernicifluum tree, to finish furniture and architectural woodwork for over 1,000 years. Japanese wooden artifacts treated with natural wax finishes have survived centuries of the country's extreme humidity, temperature swings, and monsoon conditions. Every major furniture-making tradition on every continent independently arrived at the same conclusion. Wax is the ultimate wood finish: cheap, effective, reversible, repairable, breathable, permanent, with minimal maintenance. And for thousands of years, nobody questioned it. Then in 1902, a German chemist named Kurt Albert developed the first synthetic alkyd resin, and the finish industry began its long, profitable campaign to replace a $1 block of wax with a $25 can of synthetic coating that fails in 10 years and cannot be repaired without stripping the entire piece back to bare wood. Now stay with me, because the modern science behind this $1 treatment is where the story becomes absolutely devastating to the furniture industry. The wax is beeswax, or more precisely, any natural wax, including beeswax, carnauba wax, or the simplest consumer version of all, a standard paraffin wax block available in the canning section of every grocery store for approximately 1/4 a 4-ounce block. That single block contains enough wax to restore multiple pieces of furniture. Here is what happens at the molecular level when wax meets dry wood. Wood is composed of cellulose fibers arranged in tubular cell structures bound together by a natural polymer called lignin. In a living tree, these cells are saturated with water and natural resins that give the wood its color, flexibility, and strength. When wood is harvested, kiln-dried, milled, and turned into furniture, it retains a portion of that internal moisture. But over years of exposure to indoor air, heating systems, air conditioning, and low humidity environments, the wood slowly loses its remaining moisture content. As moisture evaporates from the cell walls, the cells shrink. Microscopic gaps open between fibers. The surface becomes rough to the touch. The wood lightens in color because the air-filled gaps scatter light rather than allowing it to penetrate into the grain. Depth, the way it does in well-hydrated wood, the warm, rich, deep color you see in newly finished wood, is not a stain or dye effect. It is the natural appearance of wood when light is able to penetrate into the grain structure and reflect back from the deeper fiber layers. When the wood dries out and surface cells fill with air instead of oil, light scatters at the surface and the wood appears gray, pale, and lifeless. This is not damage, this is physics, and it is completely reversible. When you rub wax into dry wood, the wax softened by the warmth of your hand and the friction of application liquefies just enough to flow into those microscopic air-filled gaps between the dried fibers. The wax replaces the air. The light-scattering gaps disappear. Light once again penetrates into the grain structure and reflects back from the deeper layers. The color returns instantly, not because you added color, because you removed the air that was blocking the natural color from being visible. Simultaneously, the wax fills and smooths the microscopic surface roughness caused by fiber shrinkage. The surface becomes smooth to the touch. The grain feels tight and even, instead of rough and open, the wax also creates a thin, breathable, hydrophobic layer across the surface that slows future moisture loss while still allowing the wood to breathe. This prevents the rapid drying cycle from repeating and maintains the restored appearance for months or years between applications. The entire process, from gray and lifeless to warm and restored, takes less than 60 seconds per surface. One pass of wax, one buff with a clean cloth. The transformation is so dramatic and so immediate that people who witness it for the first time genuinely cannot believe they are looking at the same piece of furniture. Now here is the scientific comparison that the furniture industry does not want you to see. A study published in the Journal of Cultural Heritage tested multiple wood treatment methods on aged and degraded historical wooden surfaces. The researchers compared synthetic finishes, oil treatments, and wax treatments across multiple performance categories, including moisture protection, reversibility, visual restoration, and long-term wood health. Wax treatments scored highest overall. They provided excellent moisture regulation, superior visual restoration, complete reversibility without damage to the underlying wood, and the best long-term stability across aging tests. The Getty Conservation Institute, one of the most respected conservation science organizations in the world, has published guidelines recommending wax-based treatments as the preferred method for restoring and maintaining historical wooden objects. Their research confirms that wax treatments are chemically stable, do not yellow or darken with age, do not form brittle films that crack and trap moisture, and can be refreshed or removed at any time without damaging the wood beneath. The Smithsonian Institution's Conservation Department uses custom wax formulations to maintain wooden artifacts valued at millions of dollars. If wax is safe and effective enough for a $2 million colonial era desk in the National Collection, it is safe and effective enough for the dining table in your kitchen. Conservation scientists at the world's most prestigious institutions trust wax over every modern synthetic alternative for one reason. Wax works with wood. Synthetic finishes work against it. Wax breathes. Polyurethane suffocates. Wax can be refreshed in minutes. Polyurethane must be stripped to bare wood and completely reapplied. And wax costs $1. Professional stripping and refinishing costs $200 to $800 per piece. So if wax restoration is documented by the Smithsonian, recommended by the Getty Conservation Institute, proven across 4,500 years of continuous use, and costs $1, why does every furniture store, every home magazine, and every refinishing professional tell you to buy expensive synthetic products or pay hundreds for professional restoration instead? The answer is the same answer. It always is. The global furniture repair and restoration market generates over $8 billion in annual revenue. Professional refinishing services charge $200 to $800 per piece, depending on size, condition, and complexity. Commercial furniture care products, polishes, oils, synthetic sealants, and refinishing kits represent billions more in retail sales. The entire revenue model depends on two beliefs held by the consumer. First, that damaged-looking wood is permanently damaged and requires professional intervention. Second, that proper wood care requires specialized commercial products that only the industry can provide. Both beliefs are false. A dry, gray, lifeless wooden surface is not damaged. It has simply lost moisture and oil content. Replacing that content with wax reverses the visual aging completely. A homeowner who understands this never calls a refinisher and never buys a $25 bottle of furniture restoration product. The furniture care product market is particularly cynical in its design. Walk into any store and look at the furniture polish aisle. You will find sprays, oils, creams, and wipes priced between $5 and $30 per container. Read the ingredient labels. The primary ingredients in most commercial furniture polishes are petroleum distillates, silicone oils, and synthetic fragrances. Silicone-based polishes create an immediate visual improvement. The wood looks shiny and restored. But silicone sits on the wood surface. It does not penetrate. It does not nourish. It does not replace lost moisture in the cell structure. And silicone buildup over repeated applications creates a hazy, greasy film that actually interferes with future refinishing if the piece ever needs real restoration work. Professional refinishers universally despised silicone-based polishes. They are the single most commonly cited problem by furniture restoration professionals because silicone contamination is extremely difficult to remove and causes finishing defects in any subsequent treatment. The Polish industry sells you a product that makes wood look temporarily better while making it permanently harder to properly restore. A product that creates the need for future professional intervention. A product that generates its own demand for the services of the repair industry. That is not wood care, that is planned dependency. A $1 block of wax does not create dependency. It creates independence. 1 block, 1 minute of application. Months of restored beauty, repeatable indefinitely. No buildup, no contamination, no professional intervention needed, ever. You cannot build an $8 billion industry on a product that costs $1 and makes the customer permanently self-sufficient. So the industry did what industries always do. They complicated the simple, they professionalized the obvious, and they marketed an expensive replacement for something that already worked better. If you have made it this far, you already understand more about wood restoration than 99% of homeowners who will throw away perfectly good furniture this year because nobody told them it could be saved in 60 seconds for $1. Subscribe and share this video with someone who deserves to know what the furniture industry erased from every product label and every home care guide published in the last 50 years. Stay with me now because the most important part of this video is next. Now, I need to be completely honest with you here. Wax restoration has limitations that you need to understand before you start rubbing wax on everything wooden in your home. Wax does not repair structural damage, a cracked joint, a broken leg, a split board, a warped panel. These are structural problems that require gluing, clamping, or replacement. Wax addresses surface appearance and moisture content, not structural integrity. Wax also does not work on wood that has been heavily coated with polyurethane, lacquer, or paint. If the existing synthetic finish is intact and you want to restore it, the wax cannot penetrate through the synthetic film to reach the wood cells underneath. You will simply be waxing the plastic coating, not the wood. If the synthetic finish is failing, peeling, cracking, or cloudy, you have two choices. Strip it off and go to bare wood where wax works beautifully. or apply wax over the failing finish for a temporary cosmetic improvement while understanding that the underlying problem remains. Wax finishes also provide less mechanical protection than polyurethane against heavy abrasion. A dining table that gets daily use from children, plates, and utensils will show wear marks faster with a wax finish than with a hard synthetic topcoat. However, wax wear marks are repaired in 30 seconds by simply reapplying wax. Polyurethane, where marks require complete stripping and refinishing, and wax is not heat resistant. Hot pots and cups will leave marks on waxed surfaces. Use coasters and trivets. This is the same common-sense precaution your grandparents practiced daily with their wax-finished furniture that lasted 60 years. But here is what wax does better than anything the furniture industry has ever put in a bottle. It penetrates into wood cells and replaces lost moisture content at the fiber level. It restores the natural color and grain depth that drying has hidden. It creates a breathable protective barrier that prevents future rapid moisture loss. It does not yellow, crack, peel, or trap moisture. It can be refreshed in seconds at any time. It can be completely removed without damaging the wood if you ever want to change finishes. It is safe for skin contact, food contact, surfaces, children's furniture, and antiques. It has been trusted by the world's most prestigious conservation institutions for priceless artifacts. And it costs $1. Here is exactly what to do with this knowledge starting today. Step 1. Choose your wax. For the cheapest option, buy a block of pure paraffin wax from the canning section of any grocery store, size in 4 ounces, for approximately $1. Paraffin is odorless, colorless, food safe, and works effectively on all wood types. For a traditional premium finish, buy a tin of pure beeswax, available at craft stores, hardware stores, or online for $3 to $8. Beeswax has a warmer tone and a natural honey scent that many woodworkers prefer. For the hardest and most durable wax finish, buy a block of carnauba wax. Carnauba is the hardest natural wax in existence, harvested from the leaves of a Brazilian palm tree. It provides a slightly harder surface than beeswax, while maintaining all the same penetration and restoration benefits. For the ultimate budget restoration, use a plain white unscented candle. Standard household candles are paraffin wax. Break one in half and use it as your applicator. Cost essentially $0. Step 2. Dust the furniture surface with a clean, dry cloth. Remove any loose debris, cobwebs, or accumulated grime. For heavily soiled pieces, wipe down with a cloth dampened with plain water or a mild vinegar solution and allow to dry completely. Do not sand, unless the surface is extremely rough or damaged. Wax works on the existing patina and character of aged wood. Sanding removes that character and is unnecessary for cosmetic restoration. Step 3. Apply the wax. Take your wax block and rub it directly onto the wood surface, using firm, circular motions, following the grain direction. The heat from friction and your hand softens the wax at the point of contact, allowing it to flow into the dried wood fibers. Work in small sections. Apply enough wax that you can see a thin, even haze on the surface. Press firmly. You want the wax to penetrate, not just sit on top. For very dry, very gray wood that has not been treated in decades, the first coat of wax will absorb almost completely. This is good. The wood is drinking the wax, the way dry soil drinks water. Apply a second coat immediately after the first is absorbed. Step 4. Buff to a natural luster. Using a clean, dry cotton cloth, old t-shirt material is perfect. Buff the waxed surface using brisk, firm circular motions. The friction melts the surface wax layer slightly and redistributes it into a smooth, even lustrous finish. The more you buff, the higher the sheen. A light buff produces a soft, satin finish. Extended, vigorous buffing produces a warm, gentle glow that is the hallmark of hand-finished antique furniture. Step 5. Watch the transformation. Stand back and look at what just happened. Wood that was gray is now warm brown. Grain that was invisible is now deep and pronounced. A surface that looked ready for the trash pile now looks like it belongs in a restoration showroom. The transformation is immediate, visible, dramatic, and it took less time than making a cup of coffee. Step 6. Maintain effortlessly. Every few months, or whenever the wood begins to look dry or dull, simply apply another light coat of wax and buff. Total time, 5 minutes per piece. Total cost, pennies worth of wax per application. A single $1 block of paraffin wax contains enough material to restore and maintain multiple pieces of furniture for a year or more. Over a decade of furniture maintenance, your total wax expenditure will be less than $10. Compare that to a single professional refinishing job at $300 to $800 per piece, or a decade of commercial furniture polish purchases at $10 to $30 per bottle, 3 to 4 bottles per year, totaling $300 to $1,200, $10 in wax over 10 years versus $300 to $1,200 in commercial products that contain silicone designed to create dependency and future restoration needs. A furniture flipper in Ohio buys worn, dry, lifeless furniture at estate sales for $20 to $50 per piece. She applies $1 worth of beeswax to each piece in her garage. 5 minutes of rubbing, 5 minutes of buffing. She lists the restored pieces online for $200 to $500 each. Buyers describe the furniture as beautifully refinished. She has never sanded, stripped, or chemically refinished a single piece. Just wax, $1, 10 minutes. And a markup that would make a professional refinisher question their entire business model. That is not a secret she shares with her customers. And it is not a technique the furniture restoration industry shares with you. Let me state these numbers one final time so they burn permanently into your memory. A $1 block of wax restores dry, gray, lifeless wood to its original color and luster in under 60 seconds. The treatment penetrates into wood cells, replaces lost moisture, and creates a breathable protective barrier that no synthetic finish can replicate. A single block treats multiple pieces of furniture and lasts for months of maintenance applications. Professional refinishing costs $200 to $800 per piece. Commercial furniture polishes cost $300 to $1,200 over a decade of regular use. A decade of wax costs less than $10. Egyptian woodworkers applied beeswax to furniture 4,500 years ago, and those pieces survived inside pyramids to be recovered by modern archaeologists, still showing grain detail and surface preservation. Roman furniture makers used wax as standard practice across an empire. Medieval guilds refined wax, finishing into a 500-year tradition of craft mastery. The Smithsonian uses wax to maintain artifacts worth millions. The Getty Conservation Institute recommends wax as the preferred treatment for historical wood. And an $8 billion furniture restoration and care product industry needs you to believe that saving your grandmother's dining table requires either their professional service or their branded bottle of silicone spray. This knowledge never disappeared from the planet. It was buried under aisles of spray cans and branded furniture, polished bottles. Buried under a restoration industry that profits from the gap between what homeowners know and what conservators know. Buried under a consumer culture that taught 2 generations to throw furniture away instead of spending. 60 seconds rubbing $1 worth of wax into the grain. Egyptian craftsmen knew 4,500 years ago. They waxed cedar wood for the tombs of pharaohs, and the treatment outlasted every dynasty that followed. Roman furniture makers knew. They finished tables for emperors with the same wax you can buy for $1 at any grocery store. Medieval guildmasters knew. They built 500 years of furniture tradition on wax finishes that still grace museum collections today. The Smithsonian knows right now they maintain million-dollar artifacts with the same chemistry. The Getty Conservation Institute knows they published the research recommending wax over every synthetic alternative. And the furniture flipper making $400 profit per piece with nothing but a $1 block of wax and 10 minutes of work absolutely knows. The only person who was never supposed to find out was you. But right here, right now, watching this video, you just learned the same wood restoration technique that has been preserving furniture since before the pyramids were built. And it costs less than a cup of coffee. Your grandmother did not replace furniture. She maintained it with wax every spring. Her table lasted 60 years. Your table lasted 12 because someone convinced you that a spray can was better than a wax block. But today, sitting right here, you just proved them wrong. If this video opened something for you, subscribe and share it with every person you know who has ever looked at a faded piece of furniture and thought it was finished. Every single share preserves what the furniture industry spent decades trying to erase from your home. The next video drops soon. What is inside weighs even heavier.